Greetings, fellow humans. Bad Mark here with another transmission from Metre Keyboards, and today we're taking a look at a new keyboard from XVX. I've reviewed a number of their keyboards over the last year, and I've got to say I have been pleasantly surprised not only by their affordability or the price. XVX is a good value. So today we're taking a look at the M75. Again, I do my best not to really take a look too much into a keyboard so that I can be surprised right along with you guys. But so this is 75% 3-mode with what looks like to be a knob, and I do believe it's 3-mode as well. And it has well, it's actually more of a compressed 75% layout with the arrow keys being connected and that blocker right there, which is usually found more on 65% keyboard. So it has an interesting layout. Let's go ahead and open it up and see what we've got in the box. As always, I do like to take a look at what's included with the keyboard before actually taking a look at the keyboard. With the M75, we have a nice rubberized USB-A to USB-C cable. We have a standard wire switch and keycap holder. We have a couple of extra switches, and these are some clear linear switches that are actually poppy, but with a bit of a deeper tone. And the switch is an XVX branded switch, so we'll have to take a look at the specs when we get to that section. Also included is a number of extra keycaps. I wouldn't say quite a full keycap set, but we definitely have some choices for selection of keycaps so that we can customize it right out of the box. And last but not least, we have a user manual, and it's a decent sized user manual, has a number of pages, tells us about all the functionalities, about some of the keyboard shortcuts for backlighting, the function rows, and it seems to come in 2 different languages. This will probably come in handy here. And here we are with the XVX M75, a 75% plastic keyboard. It does thankfully include a modeled or molded keycap cover. Using the keycap cover on the keyboard when the keyboard's not in use is going to ensure that you have the longest lifetime with your keyboard as possible, because it's going to keep and debris and detritus that's in the air from getting underneath and causing any issues. Thank you to XVX for including a keyboard cover. Now, obviously, my first impression is the heart. My goodness. I'm honestly surprised that they didn't release this around Valentine's Day, because this is a perfect sweetheart keyboard. I've got to say, for a plastic keyboard, is actually nicely weighted. We have a pretty nice design. We have the 2 flip out feet, so we have a total of 3 typing angles. We have a pocket for the USB-C dongle that is branded so that we know what computer it goes to, or at least what manufacturer keyboard goes to. We have an on and off switch, and we have a USB-C port. We have a D knob, which does seem to feels like it has a aluminum outer with a plastic inner frame, but it is a standard D knob, so it can be easily replaced, and it is pressable, as well as it has stepped clicking or stepped rotation. We do have indicators for cap lock, for what I assume is scroll lock, and for charging. But I gotta say, this is very interesting that it has these, what I'll assume is PC keycaps. They're nice and thick. The legends are pretty good on them. They actually feel nice. The case is nicely designed. There's nothing I don't like about it. I actually think that it's got nice lines. I'm a big fan of, I guess you would call it an inner and outer bezel, or just a bezel. But I do like that type of design. It's given it enough room. It's got a delete key while it's not taking up too much space. But these keycaps here in the middle with the heart, really, like, part of me is like, oh, okay, no, I want to switch these out for black, and that's obviously why we had the extra keycaps included. But honestly, I like this. This is a very, the contrast of the red and black always goes well together, in my opinion anyway. But with the clear, I gotta say, and it doesn't seem to affect sound much. They sound almost exactly the same. Let's turn it on real quick and see what it looks like with the lights on. Oh yeah, that is nice. That is super nice. I gotta say, I really, really like that. That looks really nice. And honestly, it's creative. I don't think I've seen. I definitely have not reviewed a keyboard that has a heart shaped keycap profile. I don't know if any others exist. So to me, this is new and unique, and I like it. Now let's take a look at what we have under these keycaps. All right, so these are double shot. They do feel like PBT, but I will have to check to make sure. They come measuring in at 1.5 millimeters, which is a very decent thickness. And for the profile, I can see that they are cherry profile. All right, we have, like I said, this nice, it's a medium linear, I would say 45 grams maybe, and it's long pull, but it has a deeper tone to it. It's poppy, but poppy with a deeper tone. All right, so let's take a look at these stabilizers real quick. They are lubricated on the inside of the wire and the stem, and we also are lubricated on the elbow. I think that they've actually taken my advice. I can recall one that I reviewed from them that didn't have the elbow, and I'm like, you really should put lubrication on any of the spots where the metal and the plastic come into contact. No surprise to me, but there is no support for screw-in stabilizers. We do have what appears to be hi-fi layers with the PET sheet above the PCB and the IXPE sheet above that. Also looks like we have what appears to be a polycarbonate plate, and it does appear to be gasket mounted. It has a nice thick foam between the plate and the PCB, as well as a dampening layer below the PCB. Reattaching the stabilizers and taking a look at them. They are a bit loose, not too loose, but they could probably use a bit of tape. Though, I did see that when they're on there, they're not causing any ticking or any extraneous noise. They actually sound quite nice and soft. Even the space bar sounds really nice. So what we have here is a very decent 75%. I do know that some people prefer the compact layout, so it doesn't take up as much space. The blocker for me works because it allows my fingers to find the arrow keys without having to look down. Even though it only has a 3-key navigation column, it has the delete key up here, so for me, this works out just fine. I actually just noticed it has side or downward facing RGB. I've got to say, this is actually a really nice keyboard. One that I would say would probably be a good starter board for a lot of folks. It's newer. It sounds really nice, especially if you like a deeper tone. It is more thocky than it is clacky, in my opinion. And honestly, I love how it looks. Now, I think it comes in black and white, but they have this heart on both of them. Again, those extra keys that are included are to make it all match, but I have to say, I'm going to keep them like this. I like this layout. I didn't think I would at first. When I first saw it, I was kind of taken aback, but the more that I look at it, the more that I really like it. And as I've gotten older, I have learned to appreciate more things that are cute. So this is not only cute, I think it's sweet. And I mean, if we're all spreading love, I think the world would just be a more loving place. But that's just me. Just the specs. Today we are taking a look at the XVX M75 Lumina Heart, a 3-mode 75% with a knob and side lighting, and is available in both black or white base colors. It comes with a leaf spring gasket mounted PC plate, the south-facing 3 and 5 pin hot swap PCB with both hi-fi layers and dampening. It is preloaded with XVX ICE Pro linear switches and double-shot PBT keycaps, as well as polycarbonate cherry profile keycaps. It does come with the extra PBT keycaps to replace the PC keycaps. This keyboard comes weighing in at 915 grams and has an 8,000 milliamp hour battery which promises 55 hours on wireless with the RGB turned on and 365 hours of use with the RGB turned off. The chin of this keyboard sits at 21 millimeters while the back sits at 30, providing for a default typing angle of 7 degrees. Flipping down the first set of fold-out feet will take the back height to 34 millimeters and the angle of typing will change to 9 degrees. Flipping down the final set of fold-out feet will take the back height to 40 millimeters and change your angle of typing to 11 degrees. The MSRP for this keyboard is $69.99 on XVX's website, links below. So for the software, we go to the XVX website, we can go to the product page and actually scroll down a bit and click on the software tab where we'll see the download in that list. So once it is installed, we can go ahead and load it up and we are greeted with a very familiar interface, one that I've seen, I think, for the majority of their keyboards that isn't the M67, which is a QMK VIA keyboard, but it is one of the better interfaces for closed software in my opinion, because not only does it have the default layer, but it also has 2 function layers as well as a tap layer, in effect giving you 3 different layers should you enable tap. The interface is very clean and easy to understand. You can select any key and remap it for what you want it to do. In the global section, the settings section, we're able to see the model of the firmware and software, and if there's an update, there will be a button there. We're able to set the software to start on boot. We are also able to select whether we want it to exit completely out when we close the software or just minimize to the taskbar. And here we can also turn on the tap layers and set the sensitivity. For sleep, we are also able to adjust it from 1 minute all the way up to 20 minutes, which is a good range. A lot of the ones I've seen really only give you a few minutes or don't give you that option at all. We can also set deep bounce rate. Usually the default setting is going to work best, but if it doesn't, then try each of the steps and try to recreate it, and you'll find which one works best for whatever you're trying to do and avoid those double taps. From the lighting section, we see that we can select from all the different light effects that are available. There's quite a few of them. We also have the option for self-defined or per key RGB. This is where we can go and set up the backlight for every single specific key on the keyboard. Then we can also do fixed on. Fixed on, we can do a rainbow, or we can select a single color for the entire keyboard. Just remember that you always want to hit that little save icon or the floppy so that it will send it over to the keyboard, because it stores all these settings on the keyboard. We also have the effect, which is just a music effect, and this really just allows you to select what you want the lights to do should you be playing music for it to react to that music being played. And then last but not least, I know a lot of people require macros. It has a very basic but sufficient enough, in my situation, macro editor where we can create folders of macros as well as new macros. We record them and then we can go ahead and bind them into one of our function layers. So we've got pretty good software. We have a nice sounding keyboard. I do though, I don't know how it took me a minute to notice. It wasn't until I actually had to start doing functions. I did connect this Bluetooth to my video station, and because of issues with I'm using it's a Bluetooth 5, but it's just not the best Bluetooth USB adapter. So with some keyboards it takes a little while, but it was instant. It paired very nicely. But one thing that I found, because I was hitting function, and obviously sometimes you have an alt function, sometimes you have function control. It really depends when you have the 2 keys down there, how they set it up, because I've seen it done every which way. But I was like, oh, okay, because I was hitting this function key and I wasn't able to do anything, and I'm like, what's going on? Because one of the things with, it's not only XVX, there are just some keyboards that are 3-mode that if you do turn it on for some reason, but you want to be in wired mode, even if you're plugged in, you actually will have to hit function 5. So I knew I had to hit function 5, but I kept hitting this function, but it turns out this is control. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's just mixed up in the bag. Nope, I got 2 function keys. So I hope that this is a situation that just happened with this one particular unit. It just got mispackaged, but I am going to let XVX know so that should there be a batch that went wrong, they can fix it before it goes out to any customers. So for most people, this isn't going to be much of an issue. Like I said, I'm going to contact them. Hopefully it's just a one-off. For me, I have OCD, so that's really going to bother me. So I'm probably, once I'm done filming, or even when I go to take photos, I'm probably just going to find a control that looks close enough to this white on black. I'm going to go ahead and look for, I've got several Cherry white on black sets, and I'll probably just go find a control from there and replace it, because if not, it's going to bother me. I'm going to put this in rotation for at least a day, and then I'm going to return back. But so far, I've got to say that just a little bit, I mean, once I figured out that this is actually the function key, everything started working. Like at first I was like, oh no, this would have been my first XVX keyboard with an issue out of the box. So I was like, wow, you know, so I was kind of surprised, but then I don't know why. It's probably because it's a different color, and I was just looking at the heart, and I didn't realize, and I'm like, wait a minute, which function key is it? So I had to actually look in the manual and be like, okay, this is the function key, not this one. I automatically assume, because I think the majority, when it's the two 1.25s on the side of the space bar, it's usually the function key here, but not always. But again, the software will allow us to change it. I've got to say that so far, though, I think that this is a decent keyboard for the price. I mean, at first I was kind of like, but it does have a unique design. It does have an 8,000 milliamp hour battery, which I believe that they claim 55 hours on battery with RGB full blast, and up to 365 hours with the RGB off, which is a decent amount of time. I mean, it has more of it comes with a bigger battery than my phone. So now granted, the phone's going to use a lot more power. Anyway, but so far, I tried 2.4. That was instant. I mean, it was basically like plugging in a USB cable, which technically it is. I know a lot of people are like, you know, really, what's 2.4? For all intents and purposes, think of this as a wireless USB. And that's kind of how it detects itself, or it reports itself to the operating system as a USB device, I mean, as a USB cable. So a couple days in now, I've been using it, and I'm honestly, I don't have any complaints. I didn't even do any remapping because I have the keys already set up that I need. I hardly ever use home. I was going to map it to page up, page down, but I didn't even get around to it. I do believe it's already mapped, if I'm not mistaken. But I did change out the control. The font doesn't quite look the same, but it doesn't bother my OCD as much as two function. Like how it sounds. At some point I was actually considering taking and replacing the red keys. They're all there. I did check that, but I actually like it that way. It's just, I don't know, it just looks cool. The red background really just, I don't know, not to sound corny, but it's like, it gives me a positive attitude. So anytime I do look down at my keyboard, it's, you know, some of that light shining through, but it's shining through in the form of a heart. So not to be cheesy, but, you know, hey, I'll take any positivity nowadays. So yeah, I definitely want to try it with different switches. I've got a couple of switches in mind, and I've got definitely a keycap set in mind. I just like this keyboard. I thought that was going to bother me, but again, I have the delete key up here, so that's the only reason like a 3 or 2 key navigation column kind of irks me, because it's like you're not giving me much of a choice as far as space goes. And I can work great with 65s, but sometimes I work a lot with the function keys, and I'd rather just not have to hit another key, especially if I have to do like a key combination with the function key. And I have keyboards that I programmed otherwise, but it's really just me nitpicking. Anyway, I really do like this M75 XVX keyboard. The side colors, the heart. It's a it's a cool custom touch that really didn't take that much effort, but it makes a big effect. That's always, I can only kind of compare it to programming, when you're able to create a simple algorithm that takes care of, you know, a lot of different things all in once, but it's still accomplishing the same thing, but it's doing it in a very creative way. And this is a creative way to show a keyboard. And I've got to say, I mean, my wife, as soon as she saw that, like I said, she will only, because I mean, she sees keyboards. As she has made it very clear more than once, she has seen plenty of keyboards, more keyboards than she ever thought she would see in her entire life. So a lot of keyboards, she kind of just tunes them out. But every once in a while, the last one being the cat one, but all of my girls went crazy over that one. When a keyboard stands out, she was like, "Is that a heart on the keyboard?" I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, she just took it. She just took it and grabbed it, and she typed on it. She's like, "I really like this keyboard." So it does have, it definitely shows that XVX has grown. Not that they ever made, you know, bad keyboards or simple keyboards, but their design language just continues to improve and evolve. And despite still being simple, it's elegant at the same time. I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to be creative. I'm in a good mood. I've enjoyed using this keyboard. I don't know. I guess I was just expecting another plastic 75%, but it actually, I think it's a combination of all the different things from the different mounting system, which offers a lot. I mean, it does flex, don't get me wrong, but it's closer to, say, the Pavlov, which was one that gave me a really good experience with the whole plate kind of moving. The whole plate does move. It'll just flex a little bit more where you're at, but it's a very nice feel. Unfortunately, feel is something that's just kind of hard to put into words, but I mean, I've just enjoyed using it. And like I said, I like those switches. I actually want to put them in a different build because I do want to try different switches in here. I want to put tactile. I like it that much that I'm going to keep it in rotation, and I'm going to load up some tactiles. But like I said, I'll for sure come back to this keyboard, open it up, take a look at the leaf spring system. I don't think I'll want to modify it. I think I'll be happy with that. I may actually change out for a red knob, but we'll see. We'll see where we go, because I have one particular keycap set in mind, but there's another one that I think would look really well as well. But part of me actually would like to take my salmon keycap set and my other white on black keycap set and just basically recreate this in SA. But I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll get there when I get there. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys with a stock sound test of XVX M75, 75%. I do hope that you enjoyed the review and the video. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, please leave them down in the section below. I'll do my best to answer each and every comment as quick as possible. So for now, I want to wish everybody out there a wonderful rest of your day. And until the next transmission, keep calm and keyboard on.